102 women who engaged in the King's Daughters Fulfilling Divine Purpose program have been encouraged to seek out new opportunities with an open heart. The advice from President Andrea Harris as they graduated following a 15-week journey of release and restoration.
To date, we've had over 1,600 daughters participate in the program, with this year being our 12th cohort. We've seen many lives empowered, transformed, helped, healed, and equipped in so many ways.
Patron of the King's Daughters program, Barbados' High Commissioner to Ghana, Her Excellency Juliet Bino Sutherland, tells the women her important number is 10,143. This, she says, represents the number of days since she gave her life to God.
102 women have just graduated from the King's Daughters Fulfilling Divine Purpose program. They speak of healing, restoration, and empowerment. They testify of God, of transformation, of never being abandoned. But we must ask, whose God are they serving? And whose empowerment is this really serving? This program, like many before it, promotes sisterhood, faith, and community. On the surface, it looks positive. But scratch beneath the surface, and we see echoes of a much older story, the manipulation of the black woman's spirit. Since slavery, our women have been the frontline target of reconditioning. Why? Because the woman carries the children, the culture, the continuity of the people. To break a people, you break their women. And history shows us exactly how this was done. In Barbados in the 1700s, women were stripped naked and whipped until blood soaked the ground. Overseers sometimes rubbed salt, lime, or even hot tar into the wounds to deepen the pain and mark their bodies permanently. In Jamaica, punishment was even more grotesque. A planter named Thomas Thistlewood recorded in his diary the infamous Darby's dose, forcing an enslaved person to consume a mixture of feces and urine as punishment. In the American South, Harriet Jacobs, in her Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, revealed how slaveholders used sexual violence as a weapon. She wrote, "But I now entered on my 15th year, a sad epoch in the life of a slave girl. My master began to whisper foul words in my ear. He told me I was his property, that I must be subject to his will in all things." In Louisiana, mothers were forced to watch their children whipped. One formerly enslaved woman testified in the WPA slave narratives, "They stripped my child and whipped him till the blood run, and I couldn't do nothing but cry." They say, that's what happens when a slave woman get too proud. Slave masters understood. If you control the woman through fear, you control the children through her submission. Generations of black mothers were conditioned to whisper warnings to their sons. Keep your head down, don't challenge, survive. This survival instinct became ingrained, handed down like invisible chains, long after physical slavery ended. Today, many of our sisters join programs and movements under banners of empowerment, but look closely. The culture, the doctrine, even the definition of success comes from the very same systems that enslaved us. Christianity, as practiced by enslavers, was not given to uplift Africans, it was weaponized to make them obedient. Missionaries told our mothers that submission to masters was God's will. Now, centuries later, the same doctrine is repackaged as empowerment. This is why we see the feminization of the black man and the masculinization of the black woman, both engineered outcomes of slavery. Frederick Douglass described how men were reduced to shells of themselves. He was whipped till he was literally covered with blood. He was made to eat the bread of sorrow and drink the waters of affliction till he bowed his head and died. The strong warrior man had to be broken. The resilient mother had to be hardened. And today, centuries later, the roles remain twisted. Instead of balance, we inherit dysfunction. And now, while our women are recruited into programs under foreign doctrines, outsiders build armies with our own people, teaching them to carry forward the same cycle. They take Afro women, brand their message, and send them back to the community as instruments of division. This is why Caribbean vanguards are necessary. Vanguards are those who refuse to bow, who refuse to let the next generation be conditioned into servitude. The women's movements today are not neutral. They are sponsored, funded, and shaped by the descendants of our slave masters. And until we reclaim our own spiritual, cultural, and social foundations, we will remain divided Afro women chasing illusions of empowerment, Afro men stripped of authority, and our children fed poison under banners of progress. According to the Bible, the serpent whispered to Eve once, and humanity paid the price. But today, the serpent still whispers through empowerment campaigns, religious programs, and cultural manipulation. The question is, will we keep taking the fruit, or will the vanguards finally rise?